most watched news starts now.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. We find ourselves at 5 o'clock. I'm Michael Hayslip. We're going to have a warm, sunny start to the beginning of our first full week of April. Let's go ahead and see where we stand right now. Current conditions outside the mothership, 56 degrees, south breeze. It is absolutely delightful outside with the Skywatch storm tracker sitting with light cloud cover up to the north. No precipitation to speak of. Got to work up into the far northwest. 54 in Miami, 56 in Joplin, 56 in Chanute, and 55 in both Fort Scott and Nevada as the warm temperatures creep up from the southwest. It's going to be a wonderful looking Monday, all the way back up into the mid-70s, if even with a little increased cloud cover there on future track. We're going to stay on the dry side until Tuesday night. That's when we'll begin some thunderstorm activity. Stay from about 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. There it is, rolling right through, originating out to the west. And our biggest threats are going to be some high wind, and don't discount the possibility of some hail. Cooler air on the backside of that drops us down to the low 60s for Thursday, right back to the 70s on Friday, and then we just jockey back and forth 60s and 70s headed into the weekend.
Like temperatures that start to feel like spring.
Couldn't beat this weekend now, could you?
Yeah, it was nice.
My goodness, that was picture perfect.
Enjoyed it. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, the Crawford County Sheriff's Office begins a death investigation following an early morning fire. Officials say they received a 911 call about a house fire on South 250th Street, just south of Mulberry, just after 3:30 yesterday morning. While firefighters were putting the fire out, an adult female was found dead inside the home. Crawford County Sheriff Danny Smith says investigators from the State Fire Marshal's office were contacted, and the body has been transported to Kansas City for an autopsy. The cause of the fire has not been determined yet, and the investigation is ongoing. Another early morning fire, this one in Joplin, left a building heavily damaged. This fire happened at 1330 South Wall Avenue near downtown. The building suffered smoke and water damage. The cause of the fire has not been determined. One person is dead and another person is in critical condition after a crash in Joplin. The wreck occurred Friday just before 5 on the 2800 block of South Range Line. Officials with the Joplin Police Department say the crash involved a passenger car and a motorcycle. The driver of the motorcycle was transported to a local hospital but later died from their injuries. The driver of the car was also taken to a local hospital and is listed in critical condition. JPD Major Crash Team is investigating the incident. Rioting inmates at the St. Louis jail broke out of their cells last night. Inmates broke windows and set fires following their voiced concerns about conditions at the jail and COVID concerns. Law enforcement responded and brought the jail under control this morning. At this time, it's unclear whether anyone was injured. The jail has been the site of multiple riots over the past several months. That includes an uprising in February involving more than 100 detainees. Instead of a traditional Easter egg hunt, the Lamar Elks Lodge hosted a drive-through Easter egg giveaway on Saturday. Families and cars showed up to Lamar City Park to collect their bags of eggs filled with money, candy, and toys, which the local Girl Scout troop helped decorate. The Elks Lodge says having a drive-through instead of an actual egg hunt this year was to keep families in the area safe while still being able to enjoy Easter.
Normally we do the Easter egg hunt where, everybody, it's a free-for-all, and there's usually a ton of people in a very close proximity, and we just thought this would be the best option this year.
Over 100 local families drove through the park to safely celebrate Easter this year. It's a road trip that helps pay for itself. An Uber driver calls himself the rideshare foodie. He's trying to visit all 50 states to try different foods, and he chronicles his journey on social media. Steve Large caught up with him south of Sacramento.
He is an Uber driver.
So what's your favorite thing to eat? This is just
with an appetite for adventure.
That's usually how it goes.
Crescin Torres calls himself the rideshare foodie.
All right, so this is the rideshare foodie.
His Instagram page shows the stops he's made across the country, hitting all 50 states. His favorite food so far? A crazy combination.
Chili and cinnamon rolls. Chili, and you have your cinnamon roll on the side. I fell in love with that in Wichita, Kansas. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
On a recent ride to Stockton, he found International Flavors food truck.
This right here is your top seller. Okay, we won't do this thing, man.
Owner Waleed Tumbadi is grateful for the attention.
You know, by him doing this, you know, it puts a lot of these small businesses on the map.
The reason why I started was to get out to see what the real America was like.
Kreskin's cross-country adventure has revealed a nation he says needs to see more of itself. Communities of different cultures all have more in common than they often admit.
There's some people that just haven't been from one side of the city to the other. That's 15, 20 minutes. It's very interesting. This is really good, man. This is the remix.
A rideshare driver delivering delicious images to his food blogging followers.
Food is a common ground.
And offering food for thought.
So you from Stockton?
On his all-American road trip.
America is amazing. God bless America.
I know you all are thinking the same thing I am. Cinnamon rolls and chili. Just a Kansas combination. Torres has visited 45 states so far. He's got Hawaii, Alaska, Montana, and the Dakotas left on his list. It's 5:07.
Hawaii one first. That's what I've been doing. I'd be like, that Hawaii one looks good. I need to cross that off the list. Four States looking gorgeous on a Monday morning. Temperatures sitting mid to high 50s right now. And just a nice little south breeze. It's absolutely delightful outside. Good shot of about a moon shining about 45%. And we're going to make it up into the mid 70s later on today. Little increased cloud cover as we work overnight. We will kind of trap in that warmth from today. We're going to get back-to-back beautiful days. Let's talk about Tuesday night. That's when we will see thunderstorms develop out to our west. About 9 to 5 a.m. going to be our best bet for it. Going to bring us some high winds and possibility for some hail. Cooler temps to end the week, but then right back into the 70s by the weekend.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, potential vaccine benefits.
Pregnancy and the vaccine. I'm Famie Redwood with the potential benefits for women and their babies.
Plus, the Pitt State football team took to Brandenburg Field on Saturday. We'll have details from the game. And yesterday was Easter Sunday. We'll hear from local residents about how they felt celebrating the holiday this year. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Start with a little college baseball. Missouri Southern back on the field Saturday, looking for revenge against Central Missouri. Mules took game one of a 3-game set. It was a 5-2 pitchers duel on Friday. A top 10 matchup continuing over the weekend. Central Mo, number 5, Missouri Southern, number 10. Game 1, 3rd inning. Cole Taylor sends one back over the fence. Back-to-back 2-run home runs for the Mules. Then with 2 outs and a man on, Joe Kinder. Yeah, he's got an answer. Bomb to deep center. Kinder's got 7 home runs already this season. Lions up 8-6. We're only in the 3rd inning. Later, Matt Miller. Get down. Get down. That'll work. Henry Kusiak comes in to score 11-9 Lions. Central Missouri keeps the pressure on, though. There were 9 home runs hit in this game. Lions fall 17-12 in game 2. No, let's just do more offense. Mules stay hot. We got to remember, Saturday wind was blowing straight out. Missouri Southern puts up 10. Central Missouri puts up 22. Jordan Fitzpatrick did drive in 5 runs. Lions now 18-6 on the season, 12-6 in conference play. Pitt State also playing a doubleheader Saturday, finishing off a road series with Rogers State. PSU won Friday's game 3-1. In game 1 of the weekend doubleheader, Gorillas win 4-3, despite trailing for much of the game. Garrett McGowan scores the game-winning run in the 9th off a sacrifice fly. And then Pitt State completes the series sweep, wins game 2. There's your pitching, 2-0. Gorillas get runs by Ryan Koval and Grayson Pinkett. Pittsburgh State football team took to Brandenburg Field at Carney Smith Stadium on Saturday, playing its annual spring game. Defense lined up against the offense to run through a handful of game-like drills. Quarterback Max Sexton went 13 of 19 for 137 yards. Freshman quarterback Chad Dodson Jr. threw 2 touchdown passes, one to Jalen Martin, the other to Jack Roberts. On the defensive side, Gorillas forced 3 turnovers. Brandon Malikas and Jared Flood, along with Dedrick Hutchins, all coming up with interceptions. Head coach Brian Wright says it was a good way to see the team perform in a more realistic setting.
The guys put the game uniforms on, and you got a little bit of a crowd at the stadium, and the lights are on, and you get to see your guys in a different setting and see if they can execute now. It's a little bit more pressure, and see if we're going to block the right guys and be in the right gaps on defense. I thought overall our guys did a great job.
Pitt State kicks off its season in almost exactly 5 months. Gorillas open on the road against Central Missouri on September the 2nd. After falling in the season opener last weekend, the NEO Golden Norsemen with a chance to make a big statement, hosting the number 2 ranked team in the country in Kilgore over the weekend. Norsemen were down 14-0 before coming back with 2 touchdowns of their own, but a missed extra point had them trailing by 1. On NEO's final drive of the game, this play right here results in a fumble, and the Norsemen come just shy of overtaking the number 2 ranked team and now are 0-2 to start the season.
We took them down to the wire, and we had them. And it's the same things that we got better this week. The same things that happened last week. So close. We got such good kids, and they fought adversity. They went after it. They're tough. This is one of the toughest teams in the country right now. I know they are. So proud of them. All the way down to the wire, but we got those little bitty mistakes right now.
Out their season opening series against the Texas Rangers on Sunday. Now the Royals took the first 2 games from Texas, looking for a series sweep in Game 3. They were down 6-0 in the 6th, and then Salvador Perez hit a 2-run home run to gain some ground, but the Royals could only put 1 more on the board in the 9th as they dropped the series finale 7-3. Cards also in action, split the first 2 games of the series with the Reds. Cardinals struggling though, only 1 run off of 5 hits, while the Reds put up a 12 spot. That leaves St. Louis 1-2 to start this season. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, the situation at the border intensifies as thousands of undocumented migrants try to gain asylum. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. 5:17 on this Monday morning. Beautiful shot of the moon if you want to step outside and take a look at it. And, if you're inclined to do so, you don't even need to worry about a coat. It's absolutely gorgeous outside right now. 56 degrees is where we stand, not fighting any type of wind. 55 in Pittsburgh, slew of 55s running through Lamar and Carthage, as well as Neodesha, Independence, and Parsons. The Skywatch Storm Tracker, clean as can be. All this rain up to the northwest of us. It'll simply make its way to the north. We're going to stay dry here for really the next 2 days. As far as our watches and warnings throughout the continental U.S. go, the nice thing is we don't have to worry about the elevated fire risk that we see in the red, and those are high wind warnings, so we're actually going to have a chance to be a little calm here. And not a whole lot of action as the ridge of the jet stream now all the way up over the upper Midwest, and that's why we're the recipients of some warmer temperatures all the way up into the mid-70s today. Biggest thing to pay attention to on Monday, and it's really not going to affect anything, is going to be the increased cloud cover. That's about it. We're not going to see the winds increase, anything like that. And on top of it, when we get the increased cloud cover, traps some of that warmth, gives us a delightful overnight. We managed to stay in the 60s. Are you kidding me? Now, really, we don't get any action until Tuesday night. So we breeze through Monday. Tuesday, here comes some clouds. You can see it begin to formulate out to our west right here. Really not on us till about, say, Tuesday, 9 p.m. And it's going to roll into Wednesday morning. This has a possibility not only with heavy rain, but also some wind and some hail to go along with it. As far as our 7-day forecast goes, cooler temps on the backside of it as we're going to drop down into the low 60s there on Thursday. Nice little rebound, then jockeying back and forth between the 60s and 70s as we head into the weekend. Turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page this morning. Of course, yesterday being Easter Sunday, and many churches celebrated in person after going virtual last year. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with members of the First Baptist Church in Carthage to see how they felt about celebrating the holiday this year.
A year ago, due to the pandemic, most churches were closed like many other things, and churchgoers watched their Easter Sunday services online. One pastor, Jake Wright, says last year they were celebrating virtually, but it was not the same.
So last year, all the churches were having to do the live streaming thing, and that was still good, but there's no replacing actually being able to gather physically with your church family.
Although he says one positive outcome from this was their message actually reaching more people than they would otherwise.
So we had everybody jump on Facebook Live, and some people were able to kind of project it up on their TV screens. And it was really an amazing thing in some sense, because I think that churches were able to reach more people on a Sunday morning doing Facebook Live than they would have on an ordinary Sunday.
But with Missouri's reopening, they were able to host an Easter service in person this year. One churchgoer says he's happy he was able to come back in person.
We did what we had to do, and that was to watch it live streamed on television, and it was kind of sad that you couldn't meet together on Easter Sunday, and this year it's just been wonderful because the weather's beautiful.
Wright adds that for those who still don't feel comfortable coming in person, they no longer do live streams, but they do air their services on the radio. In Carthage, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Our question on the KOAM Facebook page is just asking how you spent your Easter Sunday. Of course, if you have any pictures, feel free to send those in as well. And take part in our Insta poll. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll get to your comments, pictures, and your votes. Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, more research is showing big potential benefits for pregnant women who get the COVID vaccine and their babies. Femi Redwood has more.
OBGYN Dr. Jessica O'Connell has been caring for patients during the pandemic while expecting her own new addition.
Truly, I'd been crossing my fingers and waiting and hoping that the vaccine would be ready sooner rather than later. I was thrilled when it became available.
She got the COVID vaccine during her pregnancy and 2 months ago gave birth to her son, George. The doctor was part of a new study at Northwestern Medicine looking at 27 pregnant women who received the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine in the third trimester.
Women who received the vaccine in pregnancy did exhibit a similar immune response to what we would anticipate in the non-pregnant. There was fairly robust transfer of the antibodies into the umbilical cord blood.
Lead study author Dr. Emily Miller says women vaccinated sooner in the third trimester were more likely to pass on protective antibodies.
For those folks that are on the fence, that are in their early third trimester, that are not sure should they just wait until after delivery, these data suggest that not only is there the incredibly important maternal benefit of vaccination, but there also is probably an additive benefit to the baby of going ahead and getting it earlier.
As a mom, that feels amazing, knowing that George has a little bit extra protection. He has 2 older brothers who do go to school. So between my career and our personal lives, there's only so many lifestyle things we could do to protect him.
Research shows breastfeeding moms can also transfer antibodies to their babies. Dr. O'Connell says she plans to breastfeed as long as she can. Femi Redwood, CBS News, New York.
A recent Massachusetts General Hospital study involving COVID-vaccinated pregnant women found good levels of antibodies in the breast milk. Nearly 23% more Americans died from March 2020 through January of 2021 than expected. That's according to a new study in JAMA. Researchers say about 3/4 of the excess deaths were due to COVID infection. The rest, they say, reflect last year's surge in heart disease and Alzheimer's disease and delayed care for other health issues. They also suspect some COVID infections went undocumented. A new study in the journal Pediatrics finds children are having to wait longer for access to emergency mental health treatment. Between 2005 and 2015, 6-hour ER visits for children with mental health issues jumped from 16 to 24% for those seeking immediate care. Visits lasting over 12 hours surged from 5 to 12%. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Gorgeous Monday morning, great looking Monday as a whole. Can't beat it, even with the increase in cloud cover, still able to make it up into the mid 70s. And we really don't have anything to worry about until we get to Tuesday. Let's go ahead and put Future Track in the motion. And when I say Tuesday, I don't mean until Tuesday night. So it's back-to-back days. Just a wonderful start to our work week. Now, I'll say about 9 p.m. on Tuesday, that's when the action gets started out to the west, takes us all the way into Wednesday morning, looking at some heavy rain, thunderstorm activity, high winds, even the possibility of some hail. So if you need to do anything outside, we got about, I don't know, 50, 60 hours to get it done. I'll be back right after this.
A death investigation is underway following a house fire in Crawford County. Plus, the latest on an early morning fire in Joplin, and inmates revolt overnight at a St. Louis jail. Why riots are becoming more common at the city's Justice Center.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. You can enjoy a warm, sunny day to start off the week. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
That's right, Tanya. It's going to be absolutely beautiful today. Hope everybody had a wonderful Easter weekend. Great shot of the moon outside of Television City, where it is an extremely comfortable 56 degrees right now. Just an absolutely perfect morning. Step outside at any time you want. You're not even going to need to worry about a jacket right now. 55 in Pittsburgh, 55 in Independence, 55 in Nevada, 55 being the very popular number. With the jet stream running up the upper Midwest right there, all the warmer temperatures from the southwest just making its way right toward us, and we're going to make it up into the mid-70s later on today. We'll see a little increased cloud cover, but that's not a bad thing because what that does is trap that heat right there that we get for Monday into Tuesday night. Speaking of Tuesday, that's our next development, but it's not going to happen until Tuesday night. That's when we'll see developments come out to the west right here. Get some thunderstorm activity that's going to make its way from central Kansas all the way through into Wednesday morning. And it's going to bring us, number one, some heavy rain. Number two, some cooler temps on the backside, and also the possibility of some high winds and even some hail. But we got a nice little rebound there. We'll be back into the 70s and high 60s by the time we get to the weekend. Did you have a good Easter?
I did.
Excellent. It was picture perfect out there.
Got a nice Easter egg hunt to take the kids to, and went out to dinner, and it was great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Happy to hear that.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. All right, thanks, Michael. The Crawford County Sheriff's Office begins a death investigation following an early morning fire. Officials say they received a 911 call about a house fire on South 250th Street, just south of Mulberry, just after 3:30 yesterday morning. While firefighters were putting out the fire, an adult female was found dead inside the home. Crawford County Sheriff Danny Smith says investigators from the State Fire Marshal's office were contacted, and the body has been transported to Kansas City for an autopsy. The cause of the fire has not been determined yet, and the investigation is ongoing. Another early morning fire, this one in Joplin, left a building heavily damaged. This fire happened at 1330 South Wall Avenue near downtown. The building suffered smoke and water damage. The cause of the fire has not been determined. One person is dead and another person is in critical condition after a crash in Joplin. The wreck occurred Friday just before 5 on the 2800 block of South Range Line. Officials with the Joplin Police Department say the crash involved a passenger car and a motorcycle. The driver of the motorcycle was transported to a local hospital, but later died from their injuries. The driver of the car was also taken to a local hospital and is listed in critical condition. The JPD Major Crash Team is investigating the incident. Rioting inmates at the St. Louis jail broke out of their cells last night. Inmates broke windows and set fires following their voiced concerns about conditions at the jail and COVID concerns. Law enforcement responded and brought the jail under control this morning. This time, it's unclear whether anyone was injured. The jail has been the site of multiple riots over the past several months, and that includes an uprising in February involving more than 100 detainees. An Oklahoma couple is facing child neglect charges in what one doctor calls a possibly shocking and heinous case. Police say the couple's 8-year-old son was so malnourished he essentially had the body of a 2.5-year-old. Patrina Adger was at the scene when the couple was arrested in Edmond.
Hands back behind your back. Edmond police greeting 61-year-old Valerio Garcia with handcuffs as he arrived home from work Wednesday. His 36-year-old fiancée, Akimi Cox, also cuffed.
But you've got a warrant for your arrest, okay? for child neglect.
Edmond police say a DHS caseworker visited the couple's trailer home near Sooner and Coffee Creek Road back in February and reported Cox's 8-year-old son's stomach was distended, meaning swollen and bloated, and he was, quote, extremely skinny and his skin sagging.
He stood at around 3 feet tall, weighed 30 pounds, and wore size 3T clothing. It seemed that he did have a very strict regimented meal plan.
Have a seat.
But it was very small and clearly not enough calories to sustain.
That caseworker taking the boy to Children's Hospital, where doctors deemed this a medical neglect case. Also shocking and heinous.
He's almost my 10-year-old's age, and he's the size of my 3-year-old. The child, once he was released from the hospital, stayed in DHS custody, so he did not go back to his mother's custody.
Police say Garcia has a history with DHS dating back to 2006. Cox also with a history going back 19 years. She has 6 children, and police say the 8-year-old was the only one she had parental rights to. The couple now sitting at the Oklahoma County Jail facing 2 counts of child neglect.
Say the DHS went to the home because someone reported the boy scavenging for food in a dumpster. He's now doing better and has gained at least 15 pounds in foster care. One small business from Nevada called Little House Journals came out to Joplin Empire Market Saturday to sell their hand-sewn journals, sketchbooks, and other items. Pretty cool. Cody Martin and her husband started making journals and cards as a hobby, and then they started selling them, and their business has been growing ever since, so much that they're starting to work with other local artists.
We've got some other artists we're starting to collaborate with to bring in some other designs, so we're really passionate about supporting creatives in any way that we can to help them get their work out there too. And we didn't see that coming. It's just kind of bloomed in this business.
The name Little House Journals comes from their own little house that they live in and work out of. The couple says living in a smaller home is what makes this business possible. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, an Idaho doctor creates sidewalk chalk masterpieces on his driveway for neighbors to enjoy. Plus, the situation at the border is being called both a humanitarian and a national security crisis. We'll have the latest, but first, it's 5:37.
Got sunrise finally popping up before 7 o'clock. We'll call it 6:57 on this Monday. Gradually increasing cloud cover, but still temperatures are going to make it into the mid-70s. It is going to be an absolutely delightful Monday afternoon. Things will change, but not until Tuesday night. Say about 9 p.m. is when we see thunderstorm activity increase from the west, and that'll carry us all the way into Wednesday morning. We're going to get some heavy rain, high winds, even the possibility of some hail with that, so let's be apprised of that situation. We get a break later Wednesday morning, and then we'll revamp Wednesday night into Thursday with cooler temperatures. Finally finishing off the work week back into the 70s and not looking like a bad beginning to the weekend till we have more rain, this time just shower activity for Sunday evening. Be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
It's grilling season at Kramer's Quality Meats in Grove, Oklahoma, who specialize in a variety of fresh cut meats.
Good morning, I'm Tanya Bach with your KOAM News Update. The Crawford County Sheriff's Office begins a death investigation following an early morning fire. Officials say they received a 911 call about a house fire on South 250th Street, just south of Mulberry, just after 3:30 yesterday morning. While firefighters were putting the fire out, an adult female was found dead inside the home. Crawford County Sheriff Danny Smith says investigators from the State Fire Marshal's office were contacted and the body has been transported to Kansas City for an autopsy. The cause of the fire has not been determined yet and the investigation is ongoing. Another early morning fire, this one in Joplin, left a building heavily damaged. This fire happened at 1330 South Wall Avenue near downtown. The building suffered smoke and water damage. The cause of the fire has not been determined. Here's Michael with today's forecast.
Going to be a gorgeous looking Monday as our temperatures are going to cruise into the mid 70s, and we're able to do so even with increasing cloud cover and able to do so without it being so windy, just south 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tuesday looking great as well. Now Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, that's when thunderstorm activity begins to arrive from the west, carry us from about 9 p.m. into late Wednesday morning. All the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
Topping World Watch, critics are calling the situation at the border both a humanitarian and a national security crisis as thousands of undocumented migrants try gaining asylum. Mary Corsetti has more on how federal agents are responding as the Biden administration doubles down on its immigration policies.
The situation at the border is intensifying. Customs authorities revealing new preliminary numbers for March cite more than 170,000 migrants entering U.S. custody last month amid a global pandemic, marking the highest influx of illegal crossings in roughly 15 years.
When you put this many people in captivity in this sort of way, and 10% of them are testing positive for coronavirus, Joe Biden is turning into the super spreader of coronavirus in our country.
Federal agents facing an especially difficult task as unaccompanied minors are continuing to flood the border. Most are ending up in crowded facilities as they wait asylum hearings. Critics on Capitol Hill say President Biden's soft stance on immigration is creating more problems, especially in the midst of a public health crisis.
The vast majority of adults are turned away. These numbers are certainly we are not naive about the challenge, but what our focus is on is solutions and actions to help address the unaccompanied minors.
But others believe migrants are seeing a welcome mat, not a stop sign at the border.
They know that we're releasing them. They know that right now there's nothing stopping them.
Still, many agents are stuck in a hard place, understanding the importance of law and order while seeing a humanitarian crisis unfold.
I'm a father. I don't want to see that. As a Border Patrol agent, I didn't sign up for this.
Roughly 300 kids cross over into the United States every day. The UK government plans to trial a COVID-19 vaccine passport over the coming weeks. The certification will allow people to return to theaters, cinemas, and other events only after being vaccinated and having a recent negative coronavirus test or a positive test within 6 months. Liverpool's Hot Water Comedy Club will be the first venue to implement the scheme on April 16th. Prime Minister Boris Johnson will discuss the details later today. American Airlines is looking to boost international travel to 2 destinations in Italy with quarantine-free flights out of New York City. The world's largest airline by fleet size says it wants to get international travel going again, and it's offering quarantine-free flights to Rome and Milan. Passengers who test negative for COVID-19 will be able to travel on American's flights out of JFK International Airport in New York. After arriving in Italy, passengers will have to test negative again, but they won't have to quarantine. A museum in Cairo, Egypt is now home to a collection of ancient Egyptian mummies. The Egyptian Museum of National Civilization officially opened its doors to the public on Sunday. The mummies themselves are scheduled to go on display later this month. The museum was built in 1936 during the reign of King Farouk. Its purpose was to document the history of civilization, including the Stone Age, ancient Egypt, and the Coptic Age. The museum had been closed for several years for renovations. Let's look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. Yesterday, many churches opening their doors for Easter Sunday, unlike last year when they were closed due to the pandemic. Now, during this time, many shifted to online worship. Our question for you, asking how you spent Easter and how it was different from last year. Dave Sorek says it was a wonderful day with family. Today, the day after we learned of the good news of our salvation, awakened, recharged, and redeemed for another trip around the sun. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Dave. Rocky Cunningham said, spent it the same as most, getting my garden in the ground. And we love you, Aunt Pat. Michelle Pacini is a club member. Morning, KOAM and Moama. Good morning, Michelle. Spent the weekend in the yard, mowing, planting, and preparing storm shelter with water. Even got a new whirlybird put on. Hope everyone had a wonderful Easter and a blessed day. Glenn Ritchie said, we had a wonderful day. Spent mostly with my wife's family, quiet and peaceful. I think more relaxed than last year. Good morning, KOAM News Team. Good morning, KOAM Country. And you know what? Good morning, Glenn. Appreciate that, man. I put a smile on my face right there. On the KOAM News Now Insta poll this morning, 59% checking in, saying you spent Easter Sunday with family. 30% saying alone or with the household. Interestingly enough, we don't have anybody yet that celebrated Easter Sunday virtually. Feel like maybe we're moving in the right direction then. We'll be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Rioting inmates at the St. Louis jail broke out of their cells last night. Inmates broke windows and set fires following their voiced concerns about conditions at the jail and COVID concerns. Law enforcement responded and brought the jail under control this morning. At this time, it's unclear whether anyone was injured. The jail has been the site of multiple riots over the past several months, and that includes an uprising in February involving more than 100 detainees. Week 2 of Derek Chauvin's murder trial begins today in Minneapolis. The former police officer is accused in the death of George Floyd. Witnesses are expected to include the city's police chief, who has condemned Chauvin's actions in the past. Chauvin has pleaded not guilty. The Crawford County Sheriff's Office begins a death investigation following an early morning fire. Officials say they received a call about a house fire on South 250th Street, just south of Mulberry, just after 3:30 yesterday morning. While firefighters were putting the fire out, an adult female was found dead inside the home. Crawford County Sheriff Danny Smith says investigators from the State Fire Marshal's office were contacted, and the body has been transported to Kansas City for an autopsy. The cause of the fire has not been determined yet, and the investigation is ongoing. Another early morning fire, this one in Joplin, left a building heavily damaged. This fire happened at 1330 South Wall Avenue near downtown. The building suffered smoke and water damage. The cause of the fire has not been determined. That's a check at today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
It's going to be a great looking Monday. We'll have sunrise at 6:57, and after that, even with the gradually increasing cloud cover, we've got mid-70s on the horizon. We're able to have a nice little warm-up without having to fight the wind. Kind of getting spoiled today, and kind of more of the same tomorrow. Now, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, that's when we've got developments. So you can see that beginning to formulate out to the west right there. So Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, thunderstorm activity, say from about 9 to 5 is going to be the heaviest rain. But the rain's going to persist all the way into the later morning hours. And that's going to not only bring us some heavy rain, but also high winds, even the possibility of some hail. Cooler temps on the backside of it, middle of the week, dropping us down all the way to the low 60s on Thursday. But then a nice little rebound for Friday and headed into the weekend. Saturday looking good. Sunday afternoon and evening, that's when some additional showers reappear, but temperatures still not too bad. And of course, you can always find the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
They say a busy Idaho OBGYN uses his time off from work to create chalk art masterpieces on his driveway. Last year, his colorful Easter message in sidewalk chalk went viral. Nate Eden introduces us to the doctor behind the art.
With chalk in hand, gloves and knee pads on,
all right,
Matt Allred is ready to work.
Where's my brown?
The father of 4 will spend hours on his driveway, meticulously drawing an Easter masterpiece.
You just kind of let it create itself.
Allred is an OBGYN who moved to Rexburg with his kids and wife, Chrissy, 4 years ago. He was never into art, but found some leftover sidewalk chalk and started to draw.
We just had so much chalk, we had this idea of making a rainbow. And a few weeks later, my daughter asked if I would do a unicorn.
From there, the creativity took off. There was Wonder Woman, Winnie the Pooh, Super Mario Brothers, holiday themes, and Disney films. This creation from the movie Up took 16 hours to complete.
He did all of the balloons. My niece, Grace Allred, she came over and helped with the house portion, but that was so tedious on a massive scale.
Allred prints the image on paper and divides the driveway into 9 sections, completing one at a time. Along the way, he's learned some lessons.
Oh yeah, there was a time where I was doing this without gloves on, and I peeled off skin.
And what about water?
We love what it looks like when it rains. Water brings the color.
This doctor's creativity isn't confined to the driveway. He built a large igloo in his backyard last winter, complete with frozen colored panels and lights at night. And walk into the All Reds home on a Sunday, you might find a massive Hot Wheels track running through every room and birdcage.
He just wants to make things interesting for other people, and it makes it more fun for him to do.
How much chalk do you go through?
I stopped counting. I would say, I don't know.
The All Reds include their kids in their driveway photos as a way to document them growing up. Chrissy is a photographer and takes pictures of all the images. One has been featured in a photography magazine, and last spring, All Red's He Is Risen Easter drawing went viral. These days, it's not uncommon for neighbors to stop by and watch the artist at work.
It's just kind of fun to see the community walking by, smiling, enjoying what they were seeing.
There'll be a lot to see this summer as All Red is already planning his next drawing, a tribute to Napoleon Dynamite. He says he doesn't do this for attention, just wants to spread positivity and encourage others to try something new, because you could discover a hidden talent that inspires people around the world.
His ideas, they aren't just ordinary. If he's going to do something to that level, he's got to like go big or go home, you know?
There's so much you can learn no matter where you are. There's so much to progress. I think we just get into complacency, and that's one thing that I always want to challenge myself, at least, is that's cool, let's try it.
That is amazing. Well, Dr. Allred is previously from St. Louis, but says the artist bug didn't bite until he moved to Rexburg.
I want to know what the birds think about the Hot Wheels running through their cage.
They probably aren't too fond of that part of it. Oh, the kids got to love the Hot Wheel tracks.
That's pretty
nice.
Right there. All right, on the KOAM News Now Facebook page this morning, asking what you did over the Easter weekend. Getting great comments here. John Trebian said, had a wonderful day and the beautiful weather. It's a wonderful, beautiful family. Good morning, KOAM. Good morning, America. Good morning, John. Guy Hansen, so I read Guy's comment and I just started in. Country roads take me home. To the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. Now get this, Guy says I took a long back road drive from Joplin to Neosho and beyond. It was great to see Realville. American flags flying from farms and country homes, small country churches with parents and kids playing Easter games in the churchyards, all shared in the company of a true friend. Hard to beat. That it is, Guy, and I'm not going to lie to you. Every Sunday morning, the kids and I strike up a little John Denver, and I greatly appreciate it. Be back right after this. Gorgeous Monday, sunrise at 6:57, and then we're headed up into the 70s, even with increasing cloud cover. That actually helps us out. It's going to be just delightful overnight. We're sitting mid-50s right now. We're going to be looking at 60-degree mornings tomorrow, and then for the 7-day forecast, a little thunderstorm activity, but not until Tuesday night. All the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
A death investigation is underway following a house fire in Crawford County. Plus, the latest on an early morning fire in Joplin. And inmates revolt overnight at a St. Louis jail. Why riots are becoming more common at the city's Justice Center.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Enjoy a warm and sunny start off the work week that looks like it's going to be beautiful all week long. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
Tanya, I'm not sure what's going on here.
Positive things?
Well, okay, so there it is, right? And it's a gorgeous. By the way, did you have a good Easter?
I did.
Excellent.
I did.
So there it is, shining bright as can be. And look, watch the clouds. As the clouds move back and forth, as you were getting ready to pitch it to me.
Here it comes.
I completely lost the moon out of the sky cam, and I got worried. I was like, oh no, I was going to point out how beautiful it is this morning, and now it's just going back and forth. It is a delightful 4-state Monday morning, folks. If you have a chance to get out and take a look at the moon, take every opportunity, and you won't even need a jacket when you walk outside. 55 degrees is where we stand. And this is what was confusing to me. I'm looking at the Skywatch storm tracker, and like I said, I saw it with my own 2 eyes. There must be just a little light cloud cover going back and forth over it. 57 in Parsons, 52 in Monette, and 55 in Fort Scott. We have got absolutely no worries in the Midwest right now. This little rain patch that we see in north central Kansas, it'll continue to the northeast of us, won't pose any threat. Our weather trend's going to send us up into the mid 70s later on this afternoon. Increasing cloud cover keeps it very, very mild overnight as well. It's going to be a wonderful Tuesday morning, but by the time we get to Tuesday night, here's where we begin to pick up action. Begins about 9 p.m. on Tuesday, rolls through from the west, going to bring thunderstorm activity all the way into Wednesday morning. And we are not only talking about some heavy rain, but also possibilities of wind and hail to go along with that. Should be done with it late Wednesday morning around the noon hour. I'm going to get out there and check out my moon again. That was crazy.
It's almost like, since it doesn't seem like there should be anything in the sky, according to the radar, that like somebody's playing a trick with you just over the camera.
Well,
like a bird with his little black wing going.
That's why I had the momentary freak out when you started the show right there. That's why I ran back over to the computer, because I was like,
I didn't touch it. Didn't touch it. And then as you're pointing at nothing, it just gradually reappears. Nice.
I don't know.
All right, thanks, Michael. Crawford County Sheriff's Office begins a death investigation following an early morning fire. Officials say they received a 911 call about a house fire on South 250th Street, just south of Mulberry, just after 3:30 Sunday morning. While firefighters were putting the fire out, an adult female was found dead inside the home. Crawford County Sheriff Danny Smith says investigators from State Fire Marshal's office were contacted, and the body has been transported to Kansas City for an autopsy. The cause of the fire has not been determined yet, and the investigation is ongoing. Another early morning fire, this one in Joplin, left a building heavily damaged. This fire happened at 1330 South Wall Avenue near downtown. The building suffered smoke and water damage. The cause of the fire has not been determined. Residents in Willard, Kansas, which is outside of Topeka, are able to return home after a fire threatened their community. At least 2,200 acres are scorched in Willard, but the buildings in town all seem undamaged, and firefighters now have the upper hand on the blaze. Rioting inmates at the St. Louis jail broke out of their cells last night. Inmates broke windows and set fires following their voiced concerns about the conditions at the jail and COVID concerns. Law enforcement responded and brought the jail under control this morning. At this time, it's unclear whether anyone was injured. The jail's been the site of multiple riots over the past several months, and that includes an uprising in February involving more than 100 detainees. Now, one person is dead and another person is in critical condition after a crash in Joplin. The wreck occurred Friday just before 5 on the 2800 block of South Range Line. Officials with the Joplin Police Department say the crash involved a passenger car and a motorcycle. The driver of the motorcycle was transported to a local hospital but later died from their injuries. The driver of the car was also taken to a local hospital and is listed in critical condition. The JPD Major Crash Team is investigating the incident. Missouri Senator Roy Blunt was on ABC's yesterday morning. There he talked about President Biden's infrastructure plan and the issues he has with the plan. Senator Blunt says he's all for infrastructure improvements, but has concerns that the majority of the bill, while labeled as infrastructure, is not really what people think.
There's more in the package, George, for charging stations for electric vehicles, $174 billion, than there is for roads, bridges, and airports and ports. When people think about infrastructure, they're thinking about roads, bridges, ports, and airports. That's a very small part of what they're calling an infrastructure package that does so much more than infrastructure. That I understand the dynamic of taking a popular title and wrapping it around a big bill that it's a fairly small percentage of.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was also on ABC's this week discussing the president's infrastructure plan. Buttigieg pushed for the plan, stressing the need for infrastructure improvements across the country.
Passing day that our infrastructure crumbles, that hurts our economy and it puts our safety in danger. And again, the American people are really impatient to get this done. We're determined to make sure that Infrastructure Week is no longer a punchline around Washington. That's what this robust plan will do, and it's time for action.
On the COVID front, one of the members of President Biden's COVID advisory team, Dr. Michael Osterholm, weighed in on the possibility of a fourth COVID wave on Fox News Sunday. He feels the variant in the U.S. has the potential to spread rapidly.
Well, I believe we are, and I believe that in some ways we're almost in a new pandemic. The only good news about this is that the current vaccines are effective against this particular variant B.1.1.7. But in a sense, this is a virus that is now 50 to 100% more transmissible or infectious than the previous viruses. This is a virus that causes 50 to 60% more severe illnesses. And so what at one time wasn't as much of a problem, for example, in cases in young adults, are now becoming very serious cases.
It's 6:07.
Absolutely wonderful looking Monday morning. Temperatures already in the mid-50s, and we're pulling this off without having to fight any strong winds. We'll just go 10 to 15 miles per hour today. Sunny early, increasing clouds a little bit later, but that sets us up for an extremely mild overnight and great looking Tuesday as well. Say Tuesday around 9 p.m. So got to wait all the way till tomorrow night. That's when thunderstorm activity begins and carries us into Wednesday morning.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, pet adoptions are up due to the pandemic, and one woman's unique business takes off. A pet nanny for your puppy. Plus, an eye on entertainment, some new movies coming to Netflix and more, and a new study shows how COVID may also spread through infected surfaces, which could be dangerous in places like schools and daycares. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Ed Helms has a complicated relationship with a hired surrogate in the new trailer for Together Together. And Amanda Seyfried's new home has a dark secret and a new horror movie coming to Netflix.
Chris Martinez with those stories and more. He's got today's Eye on Entertainment.
About being a dad that I've thought about. Ed Helms is a bachelor in his 40s looking to become a dad in the upcoming comedy Together Together.
I have some exciting news. I'm pregnant. I mean, the surrogate is pregnant.
Helms plays Matt, who hires a surrogate, played by Patty Harrison, to carry his child. As they navigate the pregnancy, they're forced to make a decision about the nature of their relationship with each other. Together Together premieres in theaters April 23rd and heads to digital platforms in May. The team finds a link to a murder case while on another assignment in a new episode of NCIS.
What kind of detail is this, sir?
COVID detail. The three of you are going to be our new health compliance officers.
When Vance assigns McGee, Torres, and Bishop to new roles on COVID compliance duty at a foreign affairs summit, they discover a clue that could help solve an open murder. Pam Dahlberg guest stars. The all-new episode of NCIS airs tomorrow night here on CBS. And Amanda Seyfried finds something sinister happening in her new home in the upcoming Netflix horror movie, Things Heard and Seen.
There's definitely updating that needs to be done here.
Yeah, certainly could use a paint job.
Yeah, but look at these bones.
The movie is based on the novel All Things Cease to Appear. Seyfried plays Catherine, who reluctantly trades her Manhattan home for an old country farmhouse with her husband. She soon comes to sense a dark force lurking in the walls of the new home. James Norton also stars. Things Heard and Seen premieres on Netflix April 29th. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Tanya, what if I told you that you will find me a quiet, respectful, passive observer of the truth?
Okay.
The knives are coming back.
That's cool. I know you were a fan of those. I was just thinking back on Amanda Seyfried and her involvement in the Scream horror movies. Now she gets to star in one. Okay, back to your knives. Netflix has bought the rights.
No, I'm going to watch the horror movie too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was trying to remember, 'cause she's the one that makes, I think she has a garage door scene and that was her demise.
I don't know.
Because they talk about, in the Scream movies, they talk about like the classic horror sequence when it's always the blonde one that isn't exactly whatever, is the one that gets knocked off first.
You've never steered me wrong on a movie. So.
And now she gets to like be one of the main characters, so obviously lives closer to the end of the movie at least.
You, like I said, you have never steered me wrong. I will watch it. I will.
I don't know if it's
Now,
any
have you
good.
seen Knives
We'll find
Out?
out. Yes, enjoyed. And guess what? Netflix has bought the rights to 2 Knives Out sequels.
Too good. Too good. All right, so Netflix paid, I guess, $400 to $450 million for the sequels. Tanya, would you recommend it?
Well, it's got director Ryan Johnson slated to continue his work.
I
He
missed
did a
the
good job
top
with the
5.
first.
Can we bring it back?
Who?
The top 5.
Well, movie theaters are opening up, so why not? Yep. Daniel Craig is expected to reprise his leading role as Inspector Benoit Blanc in this movie. Is that how you say his name? Benoit?
We'll be right back after this.
Yeah. In Money Watch this morning, the pandemic has led to a surge in pet adoptions, which has a rather unique business booming. Chris Van Cleve reports.
We're waiting for you. We're at the bottom of the escalator.
Kristen Fallon and her kids are at New York's LaGuardia Airport to meet the newest member of their family, Rex, a mini Bernedoodle puppy.
Hi, here's your new baby. He's so tiny.
But getting tiny Rex to the Big Apple was a pandemic problem.
Our breeder's in Colorado, so we couldn't exactly fly from the East Coast out to Colorado. So you need someone to transport them.
The Fallons aren't alone. Pet nanny Sue Murphy says her doggy delivery business has doubled in the last year as Americans have sought out pandemic puppies. For about $500 plus airfare, Murphy will see to it a dog gets VIP treatment all the way to its new home anywhere in the country.
The minute I get the puppy, I'm in contact with my clients the entire time with pictures and videos. It is 5:30 a.m.
On this day, that meant picking up Rex in Montrose, Colorado,
Are you ready to go?
flying to Denver, and on to New York.
It was awesome to see that he's so cute and so small.
Sue makes about 13 trips like this a month. She says she feels safe flying and her business is booming.
It's, to me, not like a real job because I just love it so much and it makes everybody so happy. So when you get home, we'll feed him.
For Sue Murphy, working like a dog is actually a labor of love.
Let me give him a hug and a kiss. Goodbye.
Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
People are flocking to the movies. Godzilla vs. Kong took in over $48 million since its arrival in theaters on Wednesday. It was by far the biggest opening since the pandemic hit. Ticket sales were strong, even though most theaters still have to limit capacity, despite the fact that the movie is also available to stream at home. I'm pretty sure it was showing on the big screen at the drive-in at the Barco Theater in Lamar as well last weekend. In fact, I know it was. Air travel is soaring after the CDC eased its coronavirus-related travel restrictions. A sudden increase in passengers overwhelmed Delta Airlines on Sunday. Carrier had to cancel roughly 100 flights because it didn't have enough crew members to operate them. To increase capacity, Delta allowed passengers to book middle seats on some planes, something it wasn't planning to do until next month. Ever crave a pickle and a corn dog? Nope. Walt Disneyland found a way to combine the two. California Amusement Park is now offering a pickle corn dog at the park's Blue Ribbon Corn Dogs cart in downtown Disney. The concoction is a hollowed out pickle stuffed with a hot dog, dipped in cornbread batter, and then rolled in panko breading and deep fried. Actually, that does sound pretty good. It also comes with a side of peanut butter. You can grab one for $13. Who dips hot dogs in peanut butter? Michael? That's it for Money Watch.
The peanut butter doesn't make sense, but
No.
what they just concocted.
That was a good combination, but you're right. Why? I don't even put pickles in
I
peanut
grew
butter.
up on those at the Texas State Fair.
Pickle
This is
and-
not a novel idea.
Like that whole combination?
Well, not with the peanut butter.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll fry anything at Texas State Fair.
They had to make it weird. That was their goal.
Yeah, I know. And $13?
Better be a big pickle and hot dog.
That is, yes, for $13. Yeah. So anyway, if folks, if you're ever interested in anything fried, just go to the Texas State Fair. And
Or if you want peanut butter with it, then go to Disney.
Yes, yes, we will not give it to you with peanut butter. Temperatures absolutely delightful on this Monday morning, sitting in the mid-50s all the way up into the mid-70s later on this afternoon. Don't have to worry about any thunderstorm activity until we get to tomorrow night, say from about 9 p.m. all the way into Wednesday morning. Be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. By now, you probably know that coronavirus spreads through aerosols, droplets that go into the air when a person talks, sneezes, coughs, or breathes. But a recent study shows how it may also spread through infected surfaces like places in schools and daycares. Mandy Gaither has more.
When it comes to coronavirus, knowing how it spreads can help stop the spread. That's why researchers at Emory University teamed up with the CDC to study how the virus may move around places like schools and daycares. They found surfaces are an important source of risk.
Particularly hard, like non-porous objects like countertops or plastic toys, for example.
Ben Loatman is senior author of the study. The professor at Emory's Rollins School of Public Health says frequent cleaning is important.
Where people spend a lot more time, like in a school, like in a daycare or in an office setting, where people, if someone's infectious, they can keep contaminating a surface, more frequent cleaning is required.
But in schools, he says even hourly cleaning may not provide enough protection. He says the best way to reduce risk is to avoid contaminating those surfaces in the first place.
So things like mask wearing is a great way to avoid contamination.
With no vaccine currently authorized for children, Loatman says it's more important than ever to contain the coronavirus's spread in schools and daycares. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A study only looked at surfaces such as desks or toys and did not account for direct transmission through droplet spray, aerosols, or hand-to-hand contact, all of which are likely major contributors to the virus's spread in many settings. CDC reports more than 3.4 million doses of coronavirus vaccine were administered Easter Sunday. That's a large number, but it did not top Saturday's all-time record of more than 4 million shots in arms in a single day. But it means now that 32% of Americans have now received at least one dose of the vaccine. The CDC says about 19%, or 61 million people, have been fully vaccinated as of Sunday. In all, about 165 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine have now been administered in the U.S. to date. 15 million contaminated Johnson & Johnson vaccine doses that had to be discarded can be made up within weeks. Emergent Biosolutions has been reportedly assisting in the production of COVID-19 vaccines for Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca for months. In addition to the batch of 15 million doses that had to be discarded, Emergent has reportedly successfully produced 115 million doses of Johnson & Johnson's vaccines, which are in various stages of the supply chain. But the company says it found a quality issue in one batch of a vaccine ingredient made at a plant in Baltimore. The company says it's still on track to deliver 24 million more doses next month. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We are now just half an hour away from sunrise over Joplin and what's going to be a glorious Monday, even with increasing clouds. Still looking at temperatures up into the mid-70s. Now, we do have developments on the horizon. Those will take place tomorrow night. Don't worry about today, or really tomorrow morning or afternoon. Tomorrow night, say around 9 p.m., thunderstorm activity builds to the west. It will carry us into Wednesday morning. Going to last until late morning hours, looking at some heavy rain, high wind, even some hail. Cooler temperatures on Thursday, but then we end the work week and begin the weekend with temperatures back up into the 70s, high 60s with plenty of sunshine. Back right after this.
A death investigation is underway following a house fire in Crawford County. Plus the latest on an early morning fire in Joplin. And inmates revolt overnight at a St. Louis jail. Why riots are becoming more common at the city's Justice Center.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Enjoy a warm, sunny day to start off the week. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
Going to be absolutely beautiful, Tanya. Still got the moon shining And there's just a little glimpse of it. If you look off to the southeast right there, you're going to see Jupiter. It's going to be much more visible tomorrow and for the rest of the work week. We're just a glorious start there over Television City. That's really hard to beat and very comfortable too. 55 degrees, not fighting any type of wind, just off to a great start. Clean Sky Watch storm tracker, no worries of precipitation whether it be today or tomorrow. 54 in Lamar, 57 in Parsons, and 52 right now in Miami as the ridge of the jet stream hangs over the upper Midwest. That allows all this warmth from the deep south to head our way and send us up into the mid 70s later on this afternoon. We'll be able to almost repeat that on Tuesday afternoon as well. Now, Tuesday night, that's when things begin to get a little interesting out to our west. Some thunderstorm activity will arrive, say, beginning about 9 p.m., carry itself all the way through the 4 states into the later morning hours. 9 to 5, 9 to 6 is really going to be where we'll see the most rain, and we'll have some thunder, lightning, high wind, even the possibility of hail with that. So really, as far as our lawnmower outdoor forecast goes, today and tomorrow are your best bets, because I think by the time we roll into Wednesday afternoon, it's going to be a little soggy, and Thursday, actually going to be a little cool.
There you go. Yep. Leif has his first soccer game on Thursday. It's only fitting that the fields will be nice and soggy.
Well, I'll find the silver lining there. You know, that way he's not running around in mid-70s weather with high humidity.
Is that a bad thing?
Yeah, I was trying to find the silver lining.
That's all right. He has a long season, so I'm sure there'll be a few dry days out there. All right, thanks, Michael. The Crawford County Sheriff's Office begins a death investigation following an early morning fire. Officials say they received a 911 call about a house fire on South 250th Street, just south of Mulberry, just after 3:30 yesterday morning. While firefighters were putting the fire out, an adult female was found dead inside the home. Crawford County Sheriff Danny Smith says investigators from the State Fire Marshal's office were contacted, and the body has been transported to Kansas City for an autopsy. The cause of the fire has not been determined yet. An investigation is ongoing. Another early morning fire, this one in Joplin, left a building heavily damaged. This fire at 1330 South Wall Avenue near downtown. The building suffered smoke and water damage. The cause of the fire has not been determined. One person is dead and another person is in critical condition after a crash in Joplin. The wreck occurred Friday just before 5 on the 2800 block of South Range Line. Officials with the Joplin Police Department say the crash involved a passenger car and a motorcycle. The driver of the motorcycle was transported to a local hospital but later died from his injuries. The driver of the car was also taken to a local hospital and is listed in critical condition. The JPD Major Crash Team is investigating the incident. Dozens of inmates broke out of their cells inside a St. Louis jail last night. The detainees broke windows and set fires, demanding upcoming prison dates. Naomi Ruckham shows us what happened and where the situation stands this morning.
Pandemonium broke out overnight in downtown St. Louis. Dozens of inmates left their cells at the city's Justice Center, smashing windows and screaming out to a crowd gathered below, made up of friends and family members.
About 60 inmates on the 3rd floor who have breached their cell doors, and what you see is what you see.
A chair was thrown from a 3rd-story window, other items were set on fire, and smoke billowed from an exterior roof deck. Police could be seen in riot gear in and outside the building. They closed off nearby streets, but it was unclear who, if anyone, was in control. Who's in charge?
I guess I am. I don't know.
Some inmates demanded hearing dates in their ongoing criminal proceedings. Court assignments have been delayed in the city because of the coronavirus pandemic, and visitors have been limited. For decades, detainees have complained about conditions inside the jail, and this is the 4th incident since December. Earlier this year, a similar riot erupted when more than 100 inmates broke free. In that riot, one corrections officer was injured. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
This morning, the situation is back under control. No guards are believed to have been injured in the riot, but a few inmates have been hurt. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. An evacuation order.
Toxic wastewater threatens hundreds in Florida as homes and businesses are forced to evacuate. I'm Naomi Ruckham with the scramble to prevent massive flooding.
Plus, for our Something to Talk About, we're asking, how did you spend your Easter Sunday? We let you weigh in, but first it's 6:37.
What a gorgeous looking 4-state Monday morning we have. That's a live look outside of Television City where temperatures sit in the mid-50s right now. Official sunrise over Joplin, 6:57, and even with the increasing cloud cover, able to make it up into the mid-70s. Back-to-back days of perfect April weather. 75 today, 76 tomorrow. Now, thunderstorm activity will kick in Tuesday night, say around 9 p.m. is when we get started, and that's going to carry us all the way through late Wednesday morning with cool temps on the back, so get out and take advantage of the next 48 hours. We'll be back with Nation Watch right after this.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, hundreds of Florida residents remain under an evacuation order today as efforts continue to prevent a toxic flood along the Gulf Coast. Naomi Rokem reports from New York.
Workers are scrambling to head off a potential disaster at a wastewater holding pond near Tampa Bay.
A leak in the containment wall has been ongoing at the Piney Point facility over the past week.
The 77-acre pond contains millions of gallons of toxic water from a phosphate plant that once occupied the site. The fear is that the leak might develop into a breach that would flood the surrounding area.
The greatest concern at the moment for human health and safety is the risk of an uncontrolled discharge.
Engineers were unable to plug the leak, and the decision was made to evacuate nearby homes and businesses.
I am happy to report that no news is good news. We have thankfully avoided uncontrolled breach that would have endangered people and property in the evacuation zone.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency in 3 counties near the pond.
What we're looking at now is trying to prevent and respond to, if need be, a real catastrophic flood situation.
Water is now being pumped out of the pond at a rate of about 22,000 gallons a minute. Officials said it would take until Tuesday to remove enough water to prevent a breach. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Manatee County officials say the leak poses no danger to the local water supply, which they described as a closed system. Week 2 of Derek Chauvin's murder trial begins today in Minneapolis. The former police officer is accused in the death of George Floyd. Witnesses are expected to include the city's police chief, who has condemned Chauvin's actions in the past. Chauvin has pleaded not guilty. Several Republican state lawmakers have asked that Coca-Cola products be removed from their offices at the Georgia state capitol. In a letter obtained by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the removal request is tied to recent comments about Georgia's elections bill. Coca-Cola has criticized the measure as a form of voter suppression and expressed its disappointment in the Republican-backed law. In response, several GOP state lawmakers claim Coke is giving in to cancel culture and misleading Georgia residents about the bill. 8 GOP state representatives are asking all Coca-Cola products to be removed from their shared office suite at the Atlanta Capitol complex. April the giraffe, who warmed hearts around the world as an internet sensation, has died. Sorry about that. Animal Adventure Park in New York State announced April's death on its Facebook page Friday. According to the post, April had to be euthanized because of her worsening arthritis. You'll remember April rose to fame on the internet in 2017. She accumulated fans and admirers around the world as people watched her labor and delivery on a YouTube live stream. We showed it here on KOAM, especially during the new newscast, many times for months straight. April was 20 years old. Now the average life expectancy for giraffes in captivity is 20 to 25. Let's look at today's top national stories. Sorry to end you on that note. Let's check back in with Michael for something to talk about.
Transition to some happier thoughts here on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Instapoll. Asking how you spent your Easter Sunday, seeing as how last year, I'd say the majority of it was done virtually. Majority may be an understatement when I say that. So we're asking, how did you spend Easter this year? Roy Mercer, how big a boy are you? Ate too many of them Easter peeps and chocolate bunnies, and then I'll leave the rest for everybody else to read. Becky Mingarelli, a nice relaxing day and a great meal with the family. Lisa, I'm going to come back to yours in just a second. Dave Pitts Sr., pleasant day at work. Well, Dave, I hope work went well, my man. Michael Arrowwood, like the past 3 years with my girls. I love you, Mandy in Brooklyn. Have a blessed day. Michael, I'm so glad you got to experience the weekend with them. Red Berry, I rejoiced in still being here. My family has dodged the COVID-19 for over a year now. Good morning, KOAM gang in 4 states. Stay safe. Have a great day. Rhett, you have a great day as well. And I'm glad for that good news. Now, I said I'd go back down to Lisa Louise. At the bar, no family, but when you're rocking a Bloody Mary with the olives on top, ain't nothing wrong with that, Lisa. Morning Insta poll this morning, 69%. This makes me so happy. 69% of you got to spend it with family, and I find it very interesting right now that we've got 0%. Not one person has said that they spent it virtually. So like I said, maybe it feels like we're headed in the right direction. We'll come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
All right, we're going to kick off our 4 state birthdays this morning with Jaren Scheibe, who's now 4 years old. Look at that little princess there in her dress. Hope you have a wonderful birthday, Jaren.
What a marvelous picture right there. One look at Jaren and she just puts a smile on your face right there on a Monday morning. That's wonderful. Happy birthday, Jaren. Ariana Briner, now double digits as she hits the big number 10. Very happy birthday, Ariana in Pittsburgh.
All right, and we've got Jackson Jett turning 10 years old this year. Jackson is in Carl Junction. His birthday was actually on Saturday. His grandma and grandpa want to give him birthday wishes today.
From double digits to the teenage years, Zane Michael Gabbern now turning 13 over the weekend. Zane, these birthday wishes come with love from Mom. Zane's in Cherokee.
In Girard, Jaden Hawkins celebrating Sweet 16 this year. Happy birthday, Jaden.
Run out to Carthage. Michael Parker celebrating his 37th birthday. Happy birthday, Michael. Love the black and white photo. That's cool.
All right, and Mike Myers turning double sixes in Chanute.
Now, look at I'm going to guess with the crown.
I recognize what game that's from. Pretty Pretty Princess. I used to play that with my little sister a long time ago.
That is tremendous. Happy birthday, Mike.
It says here he likes to play with his 3 granddaughters.
Yeah.
So that would explain the
three,
Pretty Pretty Princess crown and jewelry.
You got 3 granddaughters. That's what you do as grandpa, man. That's what you do. Cleo Jones, a happy 86th birthday to Mr. Jones. He celebrates in Weir.
And let's see, Angela Klein in La Harpe, Kansas. Happy birthday.
Patricia Nave celebrating a birthday. Patricia, I want you to have a marvelous, marvelous Monday birthday in Iola.
All right, we've got a 2nd anniversary wish going out to Thad and Lori McQueen. Congratulations to the McQueens in Fredonia.
So this one falls squarely on me. Joe and Pat Willis on Friday. I'm not sure, I don't remember what I said, but I want to correct what I said. Their 54th anniversary, and that picture that we see right there, that was from 4 years ago. On their 50th anniversary, they renewed their wedding vows. And so now they celebrate number 54. So congratulations once again to Joe and Pat in Nevada.
All right. Let's see, we've got a resident at Independent Living Duplexes in Carrington Place.
Miss Boger.
Miss Boger. Martha Boger turning 102 years old. Looking wonderful,
Yes.
Miss Ivet.
Marvelous woman.
I understand that they're going to have a big birthday party there today from 1:30 to 2:30 at Carrington Place there in Pittsburgh. They will be doing wellness checks to anyone that enters the building.
So 1:30 to 2:30 this afternoon at Carrington Place. Right? Wear your mask, please. But if you have a chance, go wish Miss Boger a very happy birthday. And very happy birthday from all of us, really. Marvelous, marvelous woman. Marianne York, she is celebrating a birthday in Carl Junction. This is the one of the aunts of our own graphic artist, Will York, who puts together all the birthdays and anniversaries. Marianne, a very happy birthday from all of us. And who that is?
Our station mom. Sorry, Shelley, that's what we call you.
So here's the deal, folks. I can't reiterate it enough. If any of us in this station right now were to walk out the door, this station would function just fine. Nothing would happen. It would continue to go on. It'd be successful as it went on. If she were to walk out the door, I don't know if the four walls would still stand. That's how important she is to not only the station, that's how important she is to all of us.
That is very true.
Tanya, I don't think I could have said it better. You hit the nail on the head. She's our station mom, she's our station foundation, she's the cornerstone. You don't see her on air, but I'll tell you this much, she's more important than maybe most important person around here.
No doubt. Happy birthday, Shelley.
Love you,
have a
Shelley.
wonderful day.
Happy birthday.
We love you.
Tammy Harvell, celebrating a 49th birthday. Happy birthday to Tammy in Miami. Jackson Bowen, now 9 years old. Jackson, I want you to know that these birthday wishes come with love from mom, dad, family, and friends. And Jason Edge is 35. He's young. I just remember, I remember Jason. We've been around the Edge family long, marvelous family like that. Jason, a very, very happy birthday to you as he celebrates the big 3-5. Happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. Now here's Tanya Bach with a very, very important birthday announcement.
All right, you can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Honor this morning's four-state hero. Major Joyce Gang Storm served in the United States Air Force, receiving numerous commendations for her service, a native of Oswego, Kansas. We are proud to salute Joyce Gang Storms, this morning's four-state hero. Several more comments as far as what transpired over Easter weekend. Karen Wheeler said, Easter spent with family and friends at church. So nice to be in church. Last year was the only time I can think of that I didn't go to church on Easter, and after church, family dinner at my house. Amber Dawn took advantage of the weather. She said it was different. It wasn't raining, so we hid eggs outside. And Vicki Eldridge celebrated Easter with our granddaughters and great-grandkids on Saturday. Had to work on Easter, but loved the wonderful weather. Good morning, KOAM and the four states, and to that we say, good morning, Vicki, and thank you for all the wonderful stories you gave us this morning. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Michael. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Rioting inmates at the St. Louis jail broke out of their cells last night. Inmates broke windows and set fires following their voiced concerns about conditions at the jail and COVID concerns. Law enforcement responded and brought the jail under control this morning. At this time, it's unclear whether anyone was injured. The jail's been the site of multiple riots over the past several months, and that includes an uprising in February involving more than 100 detainees. Week 2 of Derek Chauvin's murder trial begins today in Minneapolis. The former police officer is accused in the death of George Floyd. Witnesses are expected to include the city's police chief, who has condemned Chauvin's actions in the past. Chauvin has pleaded not guilty. Crawford County Sheriff's Office begins a death investigation following an early morning fire. Officials say they received a 911 call about a house fire on South 250th Street, just south of Mulberry, just after 3:30 Sunday morning. While firefighters were putting out the fire, an adult female was found dead inside the home. Crawford County Sheriff Danny Smith says investigators from the State Fire Marshal's office were contacted, and the body has been transported to Kansas City for an autopsy. The cause of the fire has not been determined yet, and the investigation is ongoing. Another early morning fire, this one in Joplin, left a building heavily damaged. The fire happened at 1330 South Wall Avenue near downtown. The building suffered smoke and water damage. The cause of the fire has not been determined. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We are seconds away from sunrise over Joplin, officially 6:57. We'll be there here in about 15 seconds. Sunny early, increasing cloud cover, but temperatures still able to make it up into the mid-70s. As we transition to the 7-day forecast, today and tomorrow looking absolutely wonderful. Thunderstorm activity begins to pick up late Tuesday night, carries us into late Wednesday morning, where we will see good old-fashioned thunder, lightning, heavy rain, and high winds. Before we get out of here, Tanya, let's sit back and enjoy that view right there.
It is pretty.
Whoo!
Very
That's
pretty.
something else.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making a lemony asparagus and radish salad. Perfect for the weather.
Of course, your morning news continues on KOAM, CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.
And we're going to break down that thunderstorm activity that's on its way, but don't let that get in the way of a great, wonderful looking Monday. Have a great, safe day. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.